could be driving.
The time to save on new Accords is right now during Happy Honda Days at Team Honda. Get our lowest prices and biggest savings on our largest selection of Accords this year. Hurry in before these savings are gone during Happy Honda Days at Louisiana's #1 Honda dealer, Team Honda on Segan Lane.
Hello. Hi, Steve.
Good morning.
Happy Thursday. Happy last Thursday of 2022.
How about that?
I know, we made it. This has been a long year.
It really has, but you know what? Enjoying some warmer weather right now, a little bit of break in things, and looking forward to what looks to be a good weekend as we kind of close out the 2022, ring in the new year.
I will say, even though we've been tracking a little bit of rain, it's been nice to not wear a jacket, waking up early as we do and coming out to work without having to wear a thick coat.
You know my feelings on it. I know not everybody agrees, but yeah, I'm loving this kind of weather right now. Not so much the rain that we had overnight this morning, but the temperature is pretty comfortable. It's going to feel like spring outside today, but we are still tracking a few showers on radar right now. Most of those have lifted east and northeast of Baton Rouge, kind of along and east of I-55 at this hour. We can see, well, lost my internet connection again, but you can see those showers kind of moving off to the east right now, generally east of I-55. So give me just a moment here, Liz.
Yeah.
The old Wi-Fi bug here at WAFB has gotten me again. Ultimately, though, I think we're going to see a bit of a lull in the rains here for much of the morning, really much of the day. Might see a passing shower or two. And then our focus is actually going to shift to overnight tonight into tomorrow morning as we kind of track some more rain. I tell you what, Liz, are you ready to jump into the news headlines?
I sure am.
And we'll come back to me and hit back on the weather when I get this all set up.
Okay, sounds good, Steve. Let me know whenever you're ready. So let's get to the news headlines because we have a lot to get to today. On this Thursday morning, the last Thursday of 2022, we want to let you know there's an opportunity to do some really good deeds here in our community. We talk about blood donations and how often there's a critical need for it, and that's because there always is, especially when you talk about the months where a lot of people may be on vacation, right? So this time of year between Christmas and the New Year holiday, you got a lot of people traveling, and that also means road travel. A lot of people driving to get to loved ones, but that's also when a lot of car crashes happen on the interstates, and you never know how bad it's going to be. So when you talk about being in the hospital and needing blood, well, that blood needs to be on the shelves before someone gets to the hospital, right? Blood centers like the Baton Rouge General Burn Unit, they're always going to need that blood on the shelves. This is a never-ending supply, a never-ending problem, and so that's why they rely on donors. So the Blood Center today, partnering up with the Acadian Ambulance, actually hosting a really special blood drive for one of its own employees who actually went through a recent transplant surgery. So today, for everyone who comes out and donate, the Blood Center is actually donating some of those blood units towards his family, towards paying off some of the bills for that surgery. So if you'd like to do a good deed today and donate some blood, it's real easy. You just head on over to the Blood Center. But before you do that, you do have to make an online appointment. And that's why we have this story with this link waiting for you in this story. You go to click here, and that's where you can make that appointment to make sure you do that blood donation today. The Blood Center is located off of Interline Avenue, so once you make that appointment, you head on over. 30 minutes is as long as it's going to take to donate some blood today. And remember, it's going to help someone in our community, a first responder who recently went under a transplant surgery. So a lot of good being done today. Something else we're following in our part of the world is this. In Denham Springs, city leaders want you to know that you may wake up and as you turn on the faucet, maybe turn on the shower head, you may notice some brown water. Well, city leaders saying, don't worry, this is normal, it's to be expected. That water is actually safe to drink, it's safe to bathe in, it is safe to do whatever you need. Just know that the coloring is going to be a little bit off, and that's because public works crews are going around testing some of the hydrants south of I-12. So today, just know that that might be some of the issues, and we'll let you know when the city of Denham Springs lets us know when they're finished with that project and when your water should return to somewhat of a clear color. We're also tracking a lot of the air travel chaos that's entering yet another day of nightmares. So Southwest Airlines, the CEO has been saying, look, we know that this week has been kind of a nightmare, especially because Southwest doesn't have a partnership with other airlines like Delta or American or United. So they're kind of stuck trying to figure out where they can get their crews, where they can get extra people. So today, they've only canceled 2,300 flights. That's a little bit better than it was yesterday. Even at a check out of MSY this morning, there were about 11 outbound flights to places like Houston and Atlanta and Nashville. So if you are flying to any of those destinations this week, just know that those flights are scheduled to still go out on time. But this is a good rule as any. If you have a scheduled flight or you have a loved one trying to get to a destination, maybe you're trying to meet them there, check the flight status before going to the airport, because it's going to be hit or miss as a lot of these people try to make their way, and as Southwest tries to get people situated. Again, more cancellations and delays expected today as we get closer to the weekend. You know what else is happening this weekend? LSU is going into its Citrus Bowl game with the Purdue Boilermakers, and that's what we talked about with Jordy Culotta today. In fact, his special guest today was Jacques Doucet, of all people. Jacques is actually in Orlando on the ground following the team there. He's actually going to be fronting a special called Florida Finale at 6:30 p.m. That's going to air on WAFB at 6:30. I believe once it's ready, it's going to also post on WAFB.com. So just know that we're going to have it ready for you. And you can watch it live with Jacques on the ground there in Orlando. And look, it's shaping up to be a good game. We're a 2-touchdown favorite, we as LSU Tigers. So we'll certainly see what comes out of that. But Steve, that's all we're tracking here in the news headlines on this Thursday. How's the weather going right now? Good?
Yeah, it's getting a little bit better outside after some rain overnight and this morning. As I was trying to tell you earlier, most of that is now starting to shift to our east and northeast here in Baton Rouge. Still not working for. Hang on a second.
I believe in you.
Do you believe in our Wi-Fi? I'm not sure that's the issue. So you can see here we've got some showers right now rolling along I-55 lifting up to the north. So some showers around Kentwood east of I-55 headed up towards Osika, Mississippi. But again, Baton Rouge to the south and west we have largely dried out. Here's a live look outside Sky 9 camera in Port Allen at this hour, and a few breaks in the clouds right now. Again, it's going to feel like spring outside today. 67 degrees Baton Rouge, 69 Gonzales, places like Lafayette, New Iberia, already up into the low 70s. Look at how much warmer we're running here locally. Baton Rouge, 12 degrees warmer, but over there around Lafayette, New Iberia, 21 degrees warmer than it was 24 hours ago. So certainly a big warm up underway. Compliments of southeasterly winds. So I've got temperatures in the mid 70s at noon. Mid to upper 70s for highs today. Could still see a few passing showers, but a lot of the rain, I think, has already occurred. And, excuse me, we'll get a bit of a lull during the day. All right, we're giving you a first alert, though, to more storms rolling in by tomorrow morning. Let's give you a look at the timeline using our graph model. So this is midnight tonight. You can see a line of storms organizing out to our west and marching eastward overnight. So this is now around daybreak tomorrow morning, and the graph shows pretty nasty line of storms potentially moving on in. Even as those storms move on through and continue eastward, maybe weaken a bit, notice that a good bit of shower activity, some rain continues through the morning, through lunchtime on Friday. That's noon. Even some light showers into the afternoon. By late afternoon into the evening, we should see a bit of a lull. And then there might be one more little burst of rain late Friday night and Saturday morning. That's daybreak Saturday with the graph picking up on a little bit of rain. But watch how quickly not only is that exit, but the clouds as well by Saturday afternoon. Plenty of sunshine, and it actually turns into a pretty nice New Year's Eve. Going to be, should be fine for New Year's Eve night if you have any plans. Now, we are also talking about a severe weather threat with those storms rolling in overnight into Friday morning. This is the outlook that takes us through 6 a.m. tomorrow morning. So some western parts of our viewing area fall under the 1 out of 5 marginal risk of severe weather. Notice how far north that now extends. The day 2 outlook, which takes us 6 a.m. Friday into Saturday morning, right now has areas near and south of the interstates under that 1 out of 5. We're expecting an update from the Storm Prediction Center about 2 hours from now, and I have a feeling we'll see this expanded northward to include more of our areas. So bottom line is, most of us said facing at least a low-end threat of a few strong storms early tomorrow. Damaging winds the primary threat, but we can't rule out an isolated tornado. So make sure you're with us on 9 News this morning, tomorrow morning, we'll be tracking potentially some of these storms rolling on through. Some could produce some locally heavy rain as well. We still have a level 2 out of 4 slight risk of flooding posted area-wide on Friday. Now, in terms of the rain amounts, this is the outlook that takes us through Saturday morning. The Weather Prediction Center still showing for most of us 1 to 2 inches of rain on average, which should be pretty manageable. But if we get some localized hot spots where it goes higher than that, maybe in a short amount of time, we could have a few issues. Not expecting major flooding. All right. After that, after we get the rain through here tomorrow, a little bit Saturday morning, we get a bit of a lull most of the weekend. That's the good news. But then here comes more rain early next week. This is Monday afternoon on the European model showing additional storms developing as a bit of a warm front lifts inland. That will get storms going, and then we'll still be waiting on a cold front moving in from the west. So it could be several more rounds of rain Monday, Tuesday into Wednesday morning. And by the time you add it all up, the rain that we expect tomorrow and then more rain early next week, the Weather Prediction Center is showing for most of us 4 to 5 inches of rain over the next 7 days. So that's a pretty good soaking. So we're going to have to keep an eye on that, I think, especially as we get into next week and see how those rains are starting to tally up. And there could be very well be another severe weather threat early next week. The early outlook right now for Monday showing a level 2 out of 5 slight risk of severe weather just northwest of Baton Rouge, just northwest of most of us. But that is the early outlook. And this far out, they don't do the 1 out of 5 marginal risk, but suffice to say, a decent chance we'll have a 1 out of 5 to include more locations, could very well include us. And it wouldn't be surprising to see that 2 out of 5 come farther south as well. So we'll keep an eye on that. So while we're talking about active weather tomorrow and again early next week, in between, the New Year's weekend looking pretty good. If you're headed out Saturday night, Red Stick Revelry downtown, anything else you might have planned. Early evening temperatures in the mid-60s around 6 o'clock. They'll gradually fall into the upper 50s by 10 o'clock. I've got mid-50s at midnight as we ring in the new year. Most importantly, we have it dry as we ring in the new year. So be ready for storms tomorrow, especially in the morning. The weekend not looking bad. More storms next week. Those should start to move out by Wednesday morning of next week. And once they do, we'll finally not only get some drier weather in here late next week, also looks like we will get a chance to cool down a little bit with your high temperatures dropping down into the 60s by Wednesday, Thursday, and Friday. So, Liz, get ready for some of these storms. Make sure you got a First Alert weather app handy. We'll have updates in there, but also in case any warnings come out.
Yeah, that's why I wanted to pull this up, Steve. I wanted to remind people just how easy it is. I know we keep talking about it, but it really is a great resource, especially with folks traveling, maybe those going to Orlando. It follows you, so the forecast updates to wherever you're going.
That's a great point. So if you go to the app right at the top, you'll see the location. There's a little magnifying glass looking thing. That's where you set your location. So you can either set it to a specific location or you can do what you say, which is sort of the recommended setting and the default, and that's follow me. So that no matter where you are, it'll tell you what the current conditions are, what the forecast is for that area, everything you need to know about wherever you may be.
Love it. Good reminder. Okay, so as we kind of pivot here, I know today's been kind of out of sorts with Wi-Fi, which is never reliable. We have a new face to introduce you to. She's actually a part of our team, our intern team. This is Sydney Goldberg.
Yeah, so Sydney's been interning with me throughout the fall semester at LSU.
Okay.
Haven't scared her off yet, right?
Good. Right.
We're doing okay. Yeah, she's going to be here through the spring, and Sydney right now plan is going to, we won't hate on her too much, going to Mississippi State hopefully next fall.
Okay.
Because why? What are you going to be doing?
So yeah, at Mississippi State, I'm looking at their broadcast meteorology program. So
that's a big
really
deal.
Exciting.
Yeah.
So it's not official yet that I'm going, so we're getting ahead of yourself just a little bit.
We're crossing our fingers.
It's going to happen.
Fingers.
She's a geography major right now, so we're going to take that next step towards getting her on the TV, maybe doing what I do eventually.
Cool.
Yeah.
I know, when you told us you were a geography major, I was like, I didn't know that there was any correlation or how you ended up interning at a TV meteorology department. So your trajectory to get where you are, I think, is pretty fascinating.
Yeah, it's definitely unique. I mean, you have your PhD in geography, so it's definitely related.
Look at that. That's so cool. Okay. Did you know that Dr. Steve was here? Like, out of all the people here, how did you choose Channel 9 and then?
Yeah, so I actually was assigned WAFB from my professor at LSU. It's an internship
Wrong
course.
answer.
He's just the coolest around.
I chose Steve.
Yeah?
But yeah, so it was an internship course that I was enrolled in at LSU, and that's how I ended up here.
That's really cool.
Yeah, so Dr. Trepanier, not to get too deep into this, her advisor actually sat on my graduate committee at LSU, so we had that connection, and we remain in touch. But yeah, good to have Sydney here.
Yeah, we love it. We love it to have you. We're excited to have you here through the spring. Okay, so this industry is so weird where your first job is typically going to be in like a small city in who knows where America. My first job and Steve's first job actually was in Lake Charles, Louisiana. But oftentimes I had a lot of friends who had to move to Fargo, North Dakota. I think Cali started there, where there's a lot of snow. So maybe your first job might be somewhere with a lot of snow. So I figured we'd talk about this fun video because this might be what you see. This is a 40-foot snowman.
Is it a snowman cake?
It does look like a cake.
It's a 3-layer cake.
It kind of looks like it.
3-tier.
Well, when it's 40 feet and it's of this magnitude,
Holy cow.
so it's at a welcome center in northern Wisconsin. I had to look it up. I've never heard of this town before. It's not anywhere near Milwaukee or Marquette or any of the common Wisconsin cities that you think of. And so the Welcome Center, it's like really up north in Wisconsin, and you can see a lot of the folks here. That's like the fire department and city public works crews and city residents come together to make this happen. They're very proud of this endeavor here. But I think the fire department even gets involved in this.
Wow.
Yeah.
So then the question is, I would like to have seen the construction process. Do you start out with one big mass and whittle it down, or did they start from the bottom and work their way up?
We have answers, Steve. So apparently a local reporter in Wisconsin, Sydney, did you read on this? It was saying that the fire department apparently assesses how much water they'll need. And so if they have enough snow, the fire department will pump water over the first layer, and if there's enough snow, they'll keep layering the cake to make sure Snowy is able to actually be erected.
So you get a little layer of ice on top of the snow that kind of makes the base.
Yes.
Yeah, they said 600 gallons of water is on the first layer itself.
That's a lot of water.
That's a lot of water.
I mean, for something this big, I'd imagine it does take a lot, but it's interesting that they use the fence to kind of as like a, I'm thinking cupcake liner. That's not the right word.
Oh no, it looks like a cupcake liner.
Yeah.
No, because they take it down once the layers are built.
All right, so Liz, now from yesterday you owe us wine and chocolates, and now cupcakes that look like snowmen apparently too.
Oh man, I've got to start.
So you better get to work when you get
home.
home
I know.
today.
I was about to say I got a lot of work before tomorrow. Okay, well let me see what I can whip up. Chocolate, wine, and a snowman.
You said it looks like a cupcake, yeah.
Well, just like the lining of it, right?
But don't forget, it's dark chocolate.
Dark chocolate.
At least you and I share that.
That is true.
Milk chocolate.
Milk chocolate? Now I got to get milk. Okay.
I can't believe that won the poll. I still can't get over that.
I just feel like it's safe. A lot of people picked milk chocolate because it's a safe bet.
It's the best chocolate.
Is it? I don't know. We're 2 of 3 here, so we'll see. We'll try to find some more good videos. There really wasn't much out there, so we'll scour the internet tomorrow, come up with a game plan. Maybe we'll have some wine and chocolate and snowman cupcakes to satiate everybody here. We'll see. That's a big promise, but we'll see.
I'm telling the boss, put on his earmuffs right now.
No alcohol. Remember, we talked about communion cups. It's just like Costco sample size.
Gonna have the chalice here.
Everyone doing communion on 90s now. What is going on? That's just the typical off the rails conversation that we like to have here.
Yes, it is.
Even without Matt, somehow.
Look, it's New Year's. We're celebrating, right?
It is. We are celebrating. And as we get closer to the new year and people start planning their New Year celebrations, it might be a little bit wet, right?
Hey, Sydney, why don't you give them the forecast for the weekend to wrap it up?
Come on, girlfriend.
Yeah, so there should be a few showers into Saturday morning, but it looks like it's going to be clear for New Year's Eve if you have any plans, as well as New Year's Day. So that should be exciting.
All right.
There you go.
I'm so proud. Bye, y'all. We'll see you tomorrow.
Make the most of every moment together in a 3-row Mazda CX-9. Find yours during the season of inspiration.
Make no payments for 90 days on a new CX-9 during the season of inspiration at Team